It's episode number 98 of the Red River Horror Podcast, and we're not talking Barbenheimer here. We're talking HOLISTAY with filmmaker Mary Gallagher and her film that was released on July 25th on digital download and video on demand. Once again, this is episode number 98 of the Red River Horror Podcast. Join us and help us support indie film. Sit back, relax, and travel those channels of fear. Welcome back to the Red River Horror Podcast. This is episode number 98. I am your host, Joe Zakrzewski, joined as always by RedRiverHorror.com founder Eddie Caiazzo. Hey, Ed, how are you?
Joe, I'm hot. It's the summer.
It is the summer.
I'm very hot.
I'm actually cool. I just got back from a trip down south where the humidity was just off the charts, and now back up here, it's like bad, but not as bad.
Huh,
so,
okay.
Some relief. But anyway, we got a special guest today.
Yes, we do.
We do. We have filmmaker Mary Gallagher joining the show. Mary, how are you? Welcome to the Red River Horror Podcast.
Hi, how are you?
All right, cool. Thanks. We're doing great. Very excited. Checked out the trailer for HOLISTAY, coming out July 25th, video on demand and digital download, right?
And Amazon Prime Video.
And Amazon Prime Video.
Oh, like, so if you have Prime, you can watch it for free, or you still have to...
Yeah.
Whoa.
I do.
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Sweet, because I am going to watch it, and we're going to talk about that film, because I thought it looked pretty neat, because it hit on my first thing. So we're not going to try and give away too many spoilers, but the basics of, imagine renting a place, a getaway.
Yes.
And then someone else books it at the same time as you.
Oh, no.
And there's nothing to rectify that. So that in itself sounds like a horrific situation, but then you added on to it.
Who are these people? Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it hits on one of my favorite pieces of lore, because like sometimes on the show we do movies, but then also we do episodes where we'll go outside the box. So like whether it's like some kind of local lore wherever. And one of my favorites from Ireland is the Banshee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what we get here. So what brought you to what's like the inspiration behind this film? Like where did you start with this, and now you're here, right, about to be released?
So I was a political reporter for a very long time, and I produced debates for Comcast, and I was into producing. I was on the board of the Philadelphia Film Society.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys remember that.
Sharon Pinkinson.
So she's the film office.
Oh.
This was the film festival.
Oh, my gosh.
It was ran by TLA Entertainment Group. Remember them?
Sure do.
Yes.
So they had a great international festival for about 20 years, and I watched a lot of film. I also had a loft in Old City back in those days. Old City was just up and coming.
Yeah.
And I was known as Mary Patel back then, right? So it was my journalist name. But so I got to know a lot of producers and actors, and mostly producers in the business side of film. And, newspapers all were downsized. My column was downsized. City paper was sold. And so I thought, well, let me retool. Let me think, what else I want to do. And I had done a documentary called Erectile Dysfunction about the dysfunctionality of the American voter. That was on Netflix, came out in 2008. And so I liked film. And like I said, I had gotten to know producers at the, the film festival. So I moved to LA in 2010. I started working on other people's projects, and then I started to develop my own. And I had a great project that lost funding during COVID. So it was an Irish theme. Irish theme because my husband's from Ireland, and ghosts and banshees and druids and all that, and spirits has always been very prevalent in that part of the world, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. So a couple of years ago, I sat down and I thought, you know what, maybe I'm going to do a horror movie, but horror to me is not slasher. It is story, like Halloween 1.
Yep.
M. Night Shyamalan's movie, Sixth Sense, one of my favorites. I like the story and the surprise element. So I wanted to craft that into my script, which I wrote. And because I'm independent and didn't have, unlimited checkbook, you have to think about reality. And so I don't have green screen or CGI. And a lot of these horror movies today, creatures are on the wall upside down, or they're transforming into something, or their heads are spinning all over the place. And they, that's not me, right? That's not going to be my movie. So you have to think about going back to the Halloween 1, right? What made that tension was the lighting and the masks. Michael Myers, right? Yep. Even going back to 2008 with The Strangers.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you remember that film.
That's a big favorite around here.
Okay, so that was all lighting and tension and the expectation. There was no special effects. There was blood, but there wasn't, nobody was blowing up in front of you or transforming. It was more psychological. Mm-hmm. So I decided, I'm going to do something like that. So I wrote the script and I came up with this idea. Holiday is actually a British term for staycation, stay-at-home vacation.
I learned that after Googling it.
Yeah. So after in this rental house, and it takes place in San Diego, even though it was shot here in Vegas. It was actually shot in my house. I shot it in the house. My house, because when I was looking for a location, and Vegas isn't quite LA yet, or it's not a film town yet. It's sort of limited, and they have a great film office, but locations are far and few between. And when I was looking for the right house, there was restrictions. We had to be out by 8:00. That's not going to work. Yeah. I need the nighttime, right? Sure. Equipment has to be out. We can't keep it so overnight or whatever. And then some people lived in the house on the other side of the house, and that's more people, more noise. So I'm thinking, no, I'm just going to do it in my house. And so, budgetary wise, a lot of horror movies do take place in one location: cemetery, house, castle, haunted, hotel, whatever. It's not unusual. So all these elements played into the script, hence the film.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Like, it's one of, I know it's one of my favorite things when talking about, independent film and making your own stuff. Like, we went through that. We did a short a few years ago, planning our next one. And it's like going through that planning of the practical effect. So like ours was, we could only shoot at this. It was my cousin's mechanic shop, and we could only shoot there at night. And the whole film's in black and white because we couldn't get we didn't have daylight. So we just messed with the lighting, and that's what made it work. Where we've had, some other people coming on just with like, how do you capture, like, was there any like aha moments, like to capture like a sound or something that you thought would really bring in the atmosphere with the lighting, or like, I don't know if I'm phrasing that right, but it was.
No, we were pretty controlled. Yeah. I mean, we were a 6-day shoot. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and we only have 6 characters. We have 4 leads, 2 supporting. So I try to, if you have a small element, so I had 8 crew, 6 actors, and me. Next time I'm going to get an AD, because I thought, I don't need, I can move through this. It's only 6 people, 6 actors. Nah, you need an AD. You need the barking dog in the room. I'm just trying to, but no, I mean, there was no great surprises or anything. It was pretty much what I expected.
That's great. The surprise is always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, so I guess then that puts a lot of, if you have a small cast, that puts a lot of strain on the actors to do a really good job. Can you introduce us to some of the cast in this film?
Well, I hired all professionals. Some of them I knew they could do the job, and they were very tight cast. I mean, it wasn't a stretch for any of them.
Okay.
One's a great character actor, Stephen Martini, plays Tony, and the Irish couple, Gavin O'Fory and Erin Gavin, they were just perfect for the roles. I already kind of premeditated on who I wanted when I was writing it.
Nice.
So when I was writing it, I had a vision in my head about the 4 leads.
Nice.
I wanted Gia to be Latina. And she's actually married to Stephen Martini in real life, so that worked. The couple.
It's easy for their schedule.
yeah, right. That's true.
Yeah. So it kind of flowed, I mean, there is moments. Everybody has moments, and then you look back and you think how you would have done some things differently, but not acting. It was more technical than the creative.
Okay, nice. So then I guess how long ago was this shot? This film, Holiday?
Last April.
Wow. Okay. So not that long of a turnaround to completion and release, because that's some of the folks we speak to. It's a 3 to 4 year process for some to get the film out.
Well, the key is to get distribution.
Yep.
as soon as possible. I mean, get it before you shoot if you can. Like I said, when I was at the board of the Philadelphia Film Society for the film festival in Philly, I mean, I saw so many great films and they just never saw the light of day.
Wow.
Never saw the light of day. I mean, you just, there's, if you can get distribution,
that's the key.
Before you spend the money and the time, because the movie is just going to sit in a link somewhere in a box, right? I mean,
yeah.
And then time runs on. So now your movie is 3, 4, 5 years old, right? So it's becoming older and it's not released yet. If it's already released and it's been out, that's fine. It can have a life. I mean, I look at streaming, I see stuff from 2005, 2000, it doesn't matter. If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. But you got to get the movie out. You got to get it up, right? Yeah. You can't it's hard to get distribution after 5 years when nothing's happened to their movie, right? Because well, there's a million behind you who want the same thing. So you have to always be current and on top of things. So I would encourage filmmakers to, get out and network and find and meet distributors.
We got to get down to the Philly film office and start shaking some hands.
Well, yeah, no, because one thing I found with Philly, Mary, I'll be completely honest. You were here for a very long time. We got to talk some Philly in a little bit, but one thing I found about this environment specifically, and it goes for the music scene in Philly, and I think it goes for the film scene, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like locally people want you to succeed in something. So if you have a friend who has a really good film and you're like, oh my gosh, and then it really starts getting some play, like accepted into big festivals, and then they're going to make it. Same with like a local band. It doesn't seem like an environment to say, you know what, I want to help that person. I want to elevate them so that they get to that next spot. There's more of like well, if that's not me, then I don't care.
It's cliquey.
When I was a reporter, I was always, I went around, I saw a lot of things, knew a lot of different people. I try to be supportive. I think Philadelphia is, I love Philadelphia. I'm born and raised there and I miss it, but I think it's a different sort of, here's an example, right? When I moved to LA I left Philadelphia, moved to LA. A lot of people, they said to me, you're never going to make it there. You're going to come back. You're not going to like it. It's vapid. It's this. It's that. True in a way, but then there are some real people. There's some real people. And what is Hollywood anyway? Hollywood is wherever it is. I mean, the days of the studios have waned. I mean, nobody's shooting in studios hardly unless you're in Burbank. Yeah. And you're shooting a TV show. Because now with all the tax credits all over the world, I mean, there's movies that are shot. I mean, so, to say, oh, you're not going to move to LA, you're not going to like it. So getting back to your question about Philadelphia, they are a bit parochial in their sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's an example. Not one of my reporter friends that I knew in the past reached out to me for an interview. You're the only Philly guys. And that came through my publicist. Or Breaking Glass Pictures publicist, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Breaking Glass Pictures is Richard Wolff and Susan Helfrich, Philly people. Richard was a key partner of TLA Entertainment Group, which ran the film festival, which had the video stores. Remember the video stores?
That's what I was about to say.
That's what I remember most.
So we were young bucks in high school coming out of Broad and Vine. We're relying on SEPTA to get around. So it's like we were running around the streets. I remember running into TL, maybe getting kicked out of a TLA video in my Catholic school uniform.
Yeah. So that was TLA, and then they had the stores, and then they had the film festival. That they picked up. It was already there, but they financed it. You always need an anchor financer for a festival. And so then they disbanded. I think it was 2009, the partners. And then Richard opened Breaking Glass, and he was distribution. Now he's huge. He's gotten really, really big. When the Weinstein Company folded, it opened up a lot of opportunity for independent distributors.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing it.
So that's a very good thing for indie people like me to get yourself in that mix and into that loop. But getting back to Philadelphia. So it's interesting because my name Patel, I was married to Ron Patel, who was one of the top editors of Philadelphia Inquirer. And he had a lot of, I was in this whole journalism world. I don't know if you ever heard of the Pen and Pencil Club.
Very familiar.
Yes.
Okay. So Ron had been president. Ron passed away in 2000, January 2000.
Okay.
I was married 10 months and he passed away, but I had already been known as Mary Patel, and that's why I kept my byline, and I remarried a few years ago, Eugene Gallagher. So I combined the names. Now I'm trying to get Mary Gallagher. But getting back to Philadelphia, so in the Pen and Pencil Club, there's lots of journalists, right, that I know. And they're still doing things, or they're doing not blogs, but, like what you guys are podcasts, or they're doing some writing, or they're still writing, right?
Yeah.
But nobody, and I'm all on social media with them. It's not like I disappeared. Nobody from Philly has reached out and said, "Oh my gosh, Mary, it's been a while, but hey, you got a movie. Let's talk about it. You don't have to like it, but at least an ink, a little blurb somewhere, right?"
Sure. Yeah. Share the love.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess I don't understand it. Like maybe, like you say, well, they're not supportive of the artistic community. Maybe if I was an athlete, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They'd be excited. She's in the locker room, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
You should have led the whole press release should have led with either Jalen Hurts or Joel Embiid, and you would have definitely got some ink.
Yeah.
You're right. It is a mystery to me, but I don't know the answer to that. I don't know why. There's great talent in Philly. Great talent. Great filmmakers. Great musicians.
Yeah. I think it gets a little cliquey because you're kind of defending yourself for the next step because New York's right up the turnpike.
Right.
And, if you got an opportunity up there, you don't want to pop somebody up above you. That's where I've seen it just with other things being like, there's industry very close.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people back when I was there, especially writers, they were trying to get to New York.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Get to the Washington Post. Get to the bigger papers. Although the Inquirer at one time had been very big and won 18 Pulitzers.
Once upon a time. It's just crazy where the Inky and Daily News have ended up.
It's just the
way it goes.
It's not just them. It's just that once it started to be read online, it was all over.
Yeah.
You still need writers to do the content, though.
You do.
Still need content.
You do, but even like the local paper, we're born and raised from Roxbury, Andorra, and my cousin Bernie, that's how I got to know the P&P because he wrote for the Roxbury Review, so he did the local paper, and then once he passed in 2015, and I don't think the Review's really done much since.
No, he was
passion
the voice in the
passion in journalism's kind of been fading for the blogosphere, which is unfortunate, but
yes, and there's so many different deliveries of journalism. Like, what is journalism anyway now? It's it's with all the news that comes out, and you have to decipher through what's real and what's not. Back when I was a reporter, we had editors and we had fact checkers, and we couldn't print anything that wasn't fact, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember when I was covering the presidential conventions, bloggers were big.
Yeah.
Remember bloggers? So we used to say, well, bloggers are not trained journalists. They just write things what they want.
Still do.
Not all of them,
yeah.
But some of them.
Well, here's the problem. Now the bloggers are the journalists.
Yeah.
And bloggers are obsolete. So you have, and then you have what's called freedom of speech now, right? On these social platforms. Well, I have freedom of speech. I can write what I want. It's called freedom of speech. And if they're regulated on the social platforms, then they get called on it because, wait a minute, what happened to free speech?
Sure.
But your speech is malevolent. It's it's not accurate.
Yeah.
It's always the race to be first to publish something as opposed to being right.
It's
right?
wild. It's just wild how that goes. But but the thing, I do miss the free paper because like I would tell, like my daughter would ask me like, what did you do before cell phones? Weren't you just bored all the time? I'm like, not really. Like I would always like find something, especially like getting on like the bus in the morning and grabbing a Metro or a city paper, whichever box I came across first.
We had
the orange boxes.
Yeah. Well, so the Metro, we would get on the bus.
That's right. Metro was on the bus.
The Metro paper.
But when you got to the stop, or if you had to walk from the building to the next stop, there would always be the city paper. Because what I loved about the city paper, I was at the time obsessed with music, like all of it. I would go to shows.
They had a great music section.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was my only connection really to what was happening locally. Like all the big music acts. I mean, how old was I? 2000 what?
We're
12, 14, 15, 14.
We were like 14 or 15 back in 2000.
So like obviously all the major stuff, we had MTV. We were good there. But if there was like, I don't know, the Misfits playing at the Troc, just all the shows. I would read that in the city paper specifically. That was my connection. That before the internet gave us everything we wanted immediately.
Yeah, the city paper. I don't know if you guys ever read ADM Orosi's column. He used to write a whole column for years. He was there the same time I was about all the comings and goings of the club scene.
I probably did. I used to read it like front to back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I miss Philly. It was an eclectic, vibrant town.
We've been doing. Just what an interesting time to like cover city politics, going from like 95 to 2008, like through the Rendell and Street run.
Oh yeah, that's the time I wrote. I wrote 95 through 2008, but those were the heydays. I had the best time with the Rendell administration.
I bet.
And it was just, and then John Street came in, and that was interesting. And then I think I left around the time Michael Nutter got elected.
Yeah, so as soon as the first Comcast tower went up, that's when you're on your way out.
I was on my way out. Yeah. And now I hear it's all changed a lot. I don't know.
Tons of change.
My friends say it's all changed.
Tons of change over that time. I mean, especially in like Fishtown, Northern Liberties, like they were on the ups now, and now they're full in. South Philly, Southwest Philly. There's just so much to do, so much going on down there. It's great.
But a lot of the youths that moved in, though, so some of the places, some of those neighborhoods, like they forget that they were, once Philly neighborhoods. I'm thinking Fishtown specifically.
Yeah.
So it's just
Fishtown,
yeah.
Like you have these youths from the burbs moving in, and they forget that there was a neighborhood there sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that does happen, but all good things. Old city's still old city. Just I think old city's gotten a more. There's not as much to do there. It feels like a lot of things have kind of left. Well, I think just because like my favorite bars have left, like Drinkers is not there anymore, and Sugar Moms isn't there anymore, and the Irish Pole is not there.
Sugar Moms is gone?
Yeah, pour one out for Sugar Moms. That was the best.
What happened to Sugar Moms?
It rebranded to just like Sugars, and I don't know if it was. It was always busy, and it closed before the pandemic too. I think a lot of like the nightlife scene shifted up into like Center City and like Center City West, and maybe a little more South Philly in the newer neighborhoods.
Oh.
It's like Old City wasn't as much of a scene as it used to be.
Wow.
Now it's more of like nicer restaurants, much more calm.
Yeah. But Philadelphia also we'll just be honest, it doesn't really have a friendly business environment. They did a lot to the bars and restaurants during COVID, and then trying to adjust coming out of COVID, they were very slow to make a lot of decisions. And then, like, for example, they had these streeteries, right? All these restaurants moved pretty much out into the street, and they'd close off streets. So coming back from that, they just decided, just like, okay, well, you're not allowed to have your streetery anymore, period. Just like, well, we've adjusted our entire business model. Oh. We made it, and now you're choking us again. Or, a parking lot is completely decrepit, and they haven't built it up. And, there is more of a crime. So locally, they haven't really done a good job. It's not really as friendly a business environment as it was. I'm sure when the time you were here.
Oh,
we'll see what happens. That's like the whole. So in like further growth, like sticking with Old City. So my favorite movie theater in the city is in Old City, and that's the Ritz 5.
Yes, 5. Yeah, I love the Ritz 5.
So I was going to ask you, do you have one that you like better? Or like, what's your favorite theater that you've been to in the city? Did you get around to like did you check out Ritz, Ritz 5, Ritz at the Bourse?
Are you talking about, in Philly?
Or yeah, just in general in the Philly area, like, Ambler has their independent film movie theater out there, or Bryn Mawr
Is the
Film
Prince
Institute.
still? I haven't been back for a while, guys.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know.
These have been around for ages. So
the Prince Theater was a good place. I screened my film there, Erectile Dysfunction. Did they still show films there
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
on Chestnut Street?
Yeah, nice.
Then there was the Ritz at the Bourse, the Ritz at 2nd and Chestnut, was it, or 2nd and?
Yeah, it's the one you get the box office is outside, and then you got to take an escalator down.
Yeah, that one. Is that still there?
So that one is now no more. I think everything's out of Ritz 5 for the most part.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I missed that one.
And I'm trying to think what other movie theaters were there.
Well,
I lived in the city, so I used to walk that was before Lyft, right?
Yep.
Bus, subways were great. I go from 2nd Street to 15th Street. Wasn't there a big movie theater down in College Town too? Down by Penn?
In University City.
Wasn't there one down there?
There probably was, but University City has basically been knocked down and rebuilt by Drexel and Penn. So
knocked down by who?
Drexel and UPenn. So the whole landscape there, post 2008 now, that's a whole new area in itself. But yeah, so there was the Roxy Theater. I think that was on Samson.
The Roxy. Oh my God. Let's do our next interview on nostalgia.
We should.
Well, Mary, you've been very generous with your time. I really appreciate it. No, the film's called HOLISTAY. You can get it anywhere you can get video on demand. Amazon Prime.
Prime Video.
Pretty cool. I didn't know about that coming into this. I guess
it's on Amazon Video Prime tomorrow.
So if you could, anything you could leave us with about the film that you want people to know about?
Again, it's a slow burn.
It's
I'm a fan.
Story. Everything happens at the end. So it's 90 minutes. And just know the ending is not what you think it is.
Okay.
I hope you enjoy it.
No, we most definitely will. Well, thank you again, Mary Gallagher, producer, director. I think you pretty much did it all, and we really appreciate it. Thanks for letting us pick your brain on some old Philly stuff. It's good.
Oh, thank you. I'd be happy to come back and do it again sometime. It would be great. Next time, a little way down the road, you guys watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let you know what you think, and then we could segue into, what was Benjamin. Or Billy Penn. Billy Penn's okay, right? City Hall's still there?
Yep, City Hall's still there.
Still there.
They stole the railing from it last year, but that's still standing.
They stole the railing from Billy Penn?
Yeah.
How did they manage that?
Just one of the, it was one of these historic railings on the City Hall that, I don't know, but they did.
I don't know. But it's actually, what they did with Dilworth Park is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a whole huge Christmas village out there now. It's much more of a public square than just.
I heard that. I have to come. I was thinking about going in the fall to go back and see some friends, and we'll meet up at the P&P for a drink. How's that?
That sounds good.
I love that place. So you're speaking my language. It's a wonderful
and Dirty
bar.
Frank's. I liked Dirty Frank's too. Is that still there?
Dirty Frank's is going nowhere. Cash only still.
Yeah.
Nothing changes.
Cash only.
Nothing.
Good.
It's exactly the same as it always has been and always will be.
That's good. Sheila's still there. Sheila.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
He's gonna go on the tour now.
Running next time I'm down there. I'll be down there next week and I'll ask.
Sheila, she's been there 25 years.
Probably.
Jody bought the place, I think. Jody.
That sounds about right.
She was the bartender. She bought it. She bought it from Frank.
Yeah, it's such a unique corner. But I don't think you've ever been in there.
I have not.
I'll have to take you in there sometime for
you
just
have to go in there. There's no food, just so you know.
Okay.
No food.
Cash
There's
only.
great restaurants around there.
Can you smoke in there?
No, not anymore.
I'm just
pen and pencil, you can.
Oh, really? Journalists are smoking?
Oh, dude, they got you got the old guys that are sipping martinis and cigars, and they're big martini glasses. They're not messing around in there. They don't mess around in there.
No, they don't. They don't mess around in Frank's. Nope.
Well, Mary Gallagher, we will definitely catch up after we've seen the film. We're coming up Red River Horror here on our 100th podcast episode, so we will.
Congratulations! Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats on the film.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Can't wait to see it. So thank you for your time, Mary. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Talk soon.
Thank you for joining us with our interview with Mary Gallagher. Again, you can check out HOLISTAY on video on demand on Amazon Prime and wherever else you can download movies. This has been episode number 98 of the Red River Horror Podcast. I've been Joe Zakrzewski. That's been Ed Caiazzo over there. You been good, Ed? You good?
Doing good, man. Just catch us at Red River Horror on all the platforms. Subscribe on YouTube. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Yeah, do all that fun stuff. Joe D'Angelo's going to love us for doing that.
Maybe.
All right, man, but I'm out. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, sounds great. And hey, remember to keep traveling those channels of fear.